Connected to OnePlus 3G. Connected to OnePlus 3G. Connected to OnePlus 3G. Connected to OnePlus 3G. OnePlus 3G disconnected. Ready to connected to OnePlus 3G.
Evening chanting, page 14. Yo so bhagava arhang samma sambuddho swakhato yena bhagata dhammo supatipanno yassa bhagavato savakasangho tamayam bhagavantam sadhammam sasangham imehi sakari yatharham arupitehi abhipu jayama sadhuno bhante bhagava suchira parini bhutopi pachima janata nukampamanasa imi sakari dugat panaka bhute patiganhatho amhakam digharatam hitaya sukhaya arhang samma sambuddho bhagava buddham bhagavantam abhivadimi swakhato bhagavata dhammo dhammam namassami supatipanno bhagavato savak sangho sangham namah handmayam buddhasya bhagavato pubhag namakaram karomase namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa handmayam buddhanusatinayam karomasi tam khopana bhagavantam evam kalyano iti saddo abhuggato iti piso bhagava अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो विद्याचरण सम्पन्न सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरुषदं सारथि सत्तादि मनुस्सानं बुद्धो भगवाति हन्दमयं बुद्धाभिगीतिं करोमसे बुद्धवारहन्तवरता विगुणाभियुतो शुद्धाभिज्ञानकरुणा हि समागततो बोधेसियो सुजनता कमलं वसुरो वन्दामहं तमरणं शिरसा जिनेन्दम् बुद्धो यो सर्वपाणिनं शरणं खेममुत्तमम् पठमानुसतिष्ठानं वन्दामि तं शिरेणम् बुद्धस्सहस्मिदासीव बुद्धो मे सामिकिस्सरो बुद्धस्सहं नियादिमि शरीरं जीवितं चिदं वन्दन्तीहं चरिष्यामि बुद्धस्यैव सुबोधितम् नास्ति मे शरणम् अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सत्यवच्चेन वड्डेयं सत्तु शासने बुद्धं मे वन्दमानाय यं पुण्यं प्रसूतम् इद सब्बेऽपि अन्तराया मे माहेषुं तस्य तेजसा हन्दमयं धम्मानुसतिनयं करोमसे स्वाकातो भगवता धम्मो सन्दिट्ठिको अकालिको एहि पस्सिको औपनयिको पश्चात्तं वेदितव्यो विनियोहीति हन्दमयं धम्माभिगीतिं करोमसे स्वाकाततादिगुणयोगवशेन सेयो यो मग्गपाकपरियतिविमुखभेदो धम्मो कुलोकपतना सदधारि वन्दामहं तमरं वरधम्ममीतं धम्मो यो सर्वपाणिनं शरणं खेममुत्तमम् द्वितीयानुसतिष्ठानं वन्दामि तं शिरेणहम् धम्मस्सास्मि दासीव धम्मो मे सामिकिस्सरो धम्मस्सहं नियादि शरीरं जीवितं चिदं वन्दन्तीहं चरिष्यामि धम्मस्यैव सुधम्मतं नत्ति मे शरणम् अन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सज्जवज्जेन वड्डेयं सत्तु शासने धम्मं मे वन्दमानाय यं पुण्यं प्रसूतम् इद सब्बेऽपि अन्तरायामि माहेषुं තේජසා හන්දමයම් සංඝානුසතිනයම් කරෝමසී සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ උජුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ න්‍යායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචිපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ යදිදම් චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනි දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරම් පුඤ්ඤකේත ලෝකසාති හන්දමයම් සංඝාභිගීතිම් කරෝමසේ සධම්මජෝ සුපටිපත්ති ගුණාදියුතෝ යෝ අට්ඨවිධෝ අරිය පුග්ගල සංඝ සේඨෝ සීලාදි ධම්ම පවර සයකාය චිත්තෝ වන්දාමහම් තමරියා නගණම් සුසුද්ධම් සංඝෝ යෝ සබ්බ පාණිනම් සරණම් khේමමුත්තමම් තතියානුසතිඨානම් වන්දාමි තම් සිරේනහම් සංඝස්සහස්මි දාසීව සංඝෝ මේ සාමි කිස්සරෝ සංඝස්සහම් නියාදී සරීරං ජීවිතං චිදම් වන්දන්ති හම් චරිස්සාමි සංඝස්සෝ පටිපන්නතම් නත්ති මේ සරණම් අඤ්ඤ සංඝෝ මේ සරණම් වරම් ඒතීන සජ්ජ වජ්ජේන වඩ්ඩේයම් සත්තු සාසනේ සංඝම් නීවන්දමානාය යම් පුඤ්ඤම් පසුතම් ඉද සබ්බේ පියන්තරායාමි මාහේසුම් තස්ස තේජසා Page 127 Karaniya Metta Sutta.
Karaniya Metta Sutta सुनेंगे. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස කරණීය මත්ත කුසලේන යං තං සුතං පදං අபிසමිච්ච සක්කෝජුච සූජුච සුවචෝ චස්ස මුදු අනතිමානි සන්තුස්ස කෝච සුභරෝච අපකිච්චෝච සල්ලහුක උත්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අප්පගබ්බෝ කුලේසු අනනුගිද්දු නච කුද්දං සමාචරේ කිංචි යේන විඤ්ඤෝ පරේ උපවදෙය්‍යං සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හොන්තු සබ්බේ සත්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතත්තා ये केचिपान भूतत्ति तसावा थावरावा अनवशेषा दीगवाये महन्तावा मज्जिमारस्य खानुकतूला දිට්ඨාවායේව අද්දිට්ඨා යේච දුරේ සංති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සබ්බේ සත්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතත්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුබ්බේත ඥාති මංගේච කත්ත සිනං කංචි බ්‍යාරෝසනා පටිග සංඥා නාඤ්ඤ මඤ්ඤස්ස දුක්ඛ මිච්ඡේය මාතායතා නියං පුත්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුත්ත මනුරක්ඛේ එවම්පි සබ්බ භූතේසු මාන සම්භාවයේ අපරිමාණං මෙත්තංච සබ්බ ලෝකස්මින් මාන සම්භාවයේ අපරිමාණං උද්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසම්බාධං අවේරං අසපත්තං තිට්ඨං ජරං නිසින්නෝවා සයානෝවා යාවතස්ස විගත මිද්දෝ ඒතං සතින් අධිට්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහු දිට්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දස්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනය්‍ය ගේධං නහි ජාතු ගබ්භසෙයං පුනරීති ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන සොත්තිතේ හෝතු සබ්බදා ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන සබ්බ රෝගෝ විනස්සතු ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං.
We will now hear the discourse by Mr. Rodney Smith on body and movement section of Satipatthana.
Everyone, welcome to you all, each and every person So tonight's talk is on the body and movement. And again, we'll be marching through the Satipatthana Sutta to decipher the messages that are trying to be conveyed within this sutta about the body and movement. But before I jump right in, I'd like to read a little passage from the Anguttara Nikaya, because I think it's a poignant message where the Buddha seems almost to lament to Sariputra. He says, whether I teach the Dharma in brief or at length, or both, those who understand it are hard to find. And he's lamenting. I mean, I know that that's a common perception among teachers, is that there are just few people who really want to hear this, and yet the message is so important to humanity at large. And so Sariputra replies, he says, then, O Blessed One, this is the time for you to teach the Dharma, both in brief and at length. There will be those who will understand. And I think then Sariputra was trying to encourage him. You know, there are people out there that want to hear. And that sort of brings the Buddha, I think, out of the slump he might have been in. Well, he says, well then, Sariputra, thus training shall be done. Concerning this body with its consciousness, there shall be no conceited imagining of I and mine, and no such bias. Nor should there be such conceited imaginings or bias of mine with regard to any external objects. We shall thus abide in the attainment of the heart's liberation and the liberation by wisdom. And so he says, okay, let's get back to it. We're back in the body. Now, as we enter the body, let us teach and liberate people from the conceit of their imagery in regard to their body, their sense of possessiveness and ownership in regard to their body and the world at large. In other words, to step out of self-deception. And then he gets going again, and he's backward. And I think the message that I want to transfer from this sutta to you is the doability of the Dharma, that how accessible it is, with your willingness, with your commitment and sincerity. This is not some obscure and esoteric teaching. This is available. This is transferable to your life. And liberation is possible. And not only possible, but assured within your sincerity. And so when we start talking through this sutta, don't think of these exercises or these techniques that are offered or this methodology as being remote for monks, but immediate for us. If we can translate them and put them in terms and in touch with the details of our life, then they should translate into stepping out of self-deception and to liberation, if that's what our heart's deepest yearning is intending. So I just want to pick us all up here after 10 or more of these talks that we've done, and not let ourselves languish in self-doubt and come to these meetings with some sense of procrastination and half-heartedness, but to really infuse our life once more with some intentionality, and to know that that intentionality has a completion within the Dharma, if we are willing to attend to it. Now, in the break I gave just a small exercise. I just suggested that we bring as much consciousness to bear upon the break time as we did upon the sitting time. And I'm just wondering, and this is not a question for response, but just a question for us to hold, whether we were able to do that or not, even for a simple 5-minute interlude before the Dharma talk. And what does it take then? What's working against us? Why is it so difficult to do? And within this sutta of movement, this sutta of this body in movement, we shall talk about that, the difficulty of losing awareness or seeming to lose awareness. What happens there in movement? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult when we have our agenda, which is really the difficulty, when we place our own agenda upon life and then work it out according to what our needs are and trying to ascertain and to grasp in those needs? Why is it that everything else, our spiritual journey, our spiritual practice recedes in somewhat distant memory when that occurs? So we should look at that. So I'll start off and read the next part of the sutta, and then we'll do some commentary on that part that I just read. So the Buddha says, furthermore, when walking, the monk understands that he or she is walking. When standing, she discerns that she is standing. When sitting, he or she is mindful that he or she is sitting. When lying down, he discerns that he is lying down. Or, however her body is disposed, that is how she discerns it. Now, this is a very important transition between the sitting, which we have talked about up until this point, the sitting still, the contemplation, the focusing in on the breath and the body, etc., and the imaging of the body. And now we're in motion. Now we're in movement. And 3 or 4 things about this particular passage and how important it is. The first thing is that it establishes meditation in action. So that we should now break our definition of meditation as something that we're sitting still doing in our remote in solitude to movement, in action, in movement. And when we break that definition, we break out of a particular cage or contained way that we have perceived meditation to be. Because now it's not about, and this is the second point that I think is so important, it's not about keeping the container of quiet and stillness. It's not about holding ourselves in some kind of rarefied circumstance that we feel we need to sit. It's about something else, isn't it? It's about everything else that happens in movement. And so we can no longer hold the picture of meditation as being something that I need to get away from everyone else from, and in solitude with everything quiet and out in the forest, some remote area, now I can sit and now I can be quiet. Now is the time for me to sit. Or waiting till 11 o'clock at night until everybody is in bed and now I can sit. Now it may be helpful to wait until 11 o'clock at night just so that you have some undisturbed time. But for you to think that that undisturbed time is the definition of meditation is really wrong view. You see, now this is how important this is. And I'll tell you that in this tradition, walking meditation is offered, but it's often seen as a secondary practice, isn't it? I mean, when you really had it together, you'd sit. But in order to get the body so that it moves a little bit, in between the sitting, we'll offer you some walking meditation so that you can go back and not have your body hurt quite as much when you sit again. Well, that's not what this sutta is saying to me. This sutta is saying that we are now in movement in meditation, which means, as we did in the break, that there is abiding bodily awareness within movement. And some people, I know, complain, especially when people who are new to meditation, they think, well, you know, meditation is too passive. It's too disengaged. It means sort of being isolated from everyone and sitting alone and all of that. And again, this sutta breaks that concept apart. It's not disengaged. It's fully engaged, because movement doesn't mean isolation. In fact, it means interaction, which we will see in the next section. It very explicitly talks about interaction. And it's not passive. It's not just, especially people who have a life of social engagement, somewhat disparage or can disparage meditation because they think it's not living up to the fulfilled promise of engaged activity. But such a person really doesn't understand what is learned in non-movement, what is the value of not doing, what one begins to perceive true social engagement is about, and how most of us who are socially engaged without a meditation practice often do that social engagement from anger and from really a feeling of isolation and separation and enemy. There's an enemies list out there. And a kind of a self-righteousness, which, if you perceive, could somebody turn off their phones? Thank you. So if you could perceive that social interaction, social activity, social engagement, you don't lose the spirit of that. What you lose is the perception of it being about righteous indignation. Rather, it's about using your action primarily to heal in unity the tragedies that some action causes. But your action, when it's invested within that particular social problem, doesn't create further divisions within it. And so there's a different way that we get engaged, a different way that we get involved. It is not that we don't get involved at all. And so that's a very important point, I think, for people who carry the misunderstanding of meditation as being passive. I don't know very many passive Buddhists. They're very attuned to the social conditions around them and act very much in every way to work towards solving those conditions. And as I mentioned earlier on, the other thing that the Buddha is pointing out is that movement is not a secondary form. That movement is not somehow secondary to a quiet and still sitting meditation. Much of our belief, much of our understanding of quiet solitude sitting is really because this tradition, more than any other tradition, focuses in on the accumulation and building of samadhi. And samadhi is built most easily within a non-distracted, isolated setting. But that's not what this sutta is about. This sutta isn't about establishing unparalleled concentration, unbroken concentration. It's about wisdom. And wisdom does not deny or avoid difficulty. In fact, I was teaching at the Forest Refuge a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. One of the women there had lung cancer and was in the later stages of lung cancer and would sometimes during the middle of the sentence start coughing uncontrollably. And the Forest Refuge is a very refined setting, very quiet. It's a samadhi building. Very strong emphasis on concentration. And the environment very conducive to that. But I wasn't there teaching that. I was there teaching wisdom. And so as this woman started to cough, she very politely got up and started to leave. And I left my sitting as well and went out and followed her out into the hall. And I said to her, you're welcome to go if you're more comfortable in going, but don't go because you think you're disturbing us. Because we're not here to be undisturbed. And so, please, you're welcome back into the hall, and you're welcome to cough as much as you need to, without any sense of apology at all. And I really meant it. And if you look at how we hold our meditations as being in such a contrived container, that any sense of disturbance is an annoyance to our meditation, rather than seeing the disturbance as something the mind is doing within meditation, we blame the disturbance for a disruption of our meditation. That's crazy making. That's not using the principles. The principles, remember we spent many weeks talking about the principles before we even entered this sutta, using the principles to guide our meditation. The principles say, are you suffering? If somebody is coughing and you're disturbed, you are suffering. And therefore, the alleviation of that is to drop the opposition of it, to drop the argument that this person shouldn't be in the hall coughing while you're trying to sit. If you drop that image, you can live very comfortably with the fact that somebody is moving or adjusting their posture or coughing or whatever within the arrangement of the sitting, you see? But if you think that the sitting is about the ability to stare endlessly at one particular sensation, and then a coughing causes you to be distracted from that intense glare, well then it is a disruption of your meditation. And I don't think we realize sufficiently how alluring this sense of concentration is, because we just keep emphasizing as generation upon generation of Buddhists move through the cycle. What's fine when you're a monastic, it isn't even fine when you're a monastic, but many monastics pursue that because they have the refined environment in order to pursue that, but our lives don't allow that. Our lives are lives of movement. Now, is liberation lost? Is the Buddha right in lamenting about few people, because we're all lay people here, nobody will get it? I don't think so. No, in fact, I know not. Not if we use the teaching in accordance, in alignment with the suffering to the end of suffering, or whatever our continuum might be. And we went through several of them. And so the Buddha takes us right out of sitting meditation and offers us an alternative posture for meditation. Standing, sitting, lying down. He doesn't leave anything out. Walking. And it's almost as if he's encouraging us to get off the table, off the zafu. And it's almost as if he's saying that practice that is not fully embraced in movement is like practicing an athletic sport like basketball, let's say, where you just learn to dribble and shoot, but you never learn to play with your teammates. And sitting is dribbling and shooting. But the point is to play with your teammates. To get out there and interact in full aliveness form through the heart's interconnectedness and find your liberation within that. So this is not a disheartening sutta to the layperson, I feel. It's an encouragement to the layperson. But we have to do it, and that's where we might find it difficult. Now, I was up at Mount Baker, I think last weekend, and we're just taking hikes in Mount Baker, so we were up there hiking. And I was just playing around with walking meditation because I think that there's samadhi walking meditation, right? That's where you lifting, moving, placing, shifting, lifting, moving, placing. And your focus is on the refined sensations in your feet. And I certainly have spent a lot of time doing that. But I wanted to know, where would the awareness go? So this was my question when I was hiking. When I wasn't forcing it anywhere, and when I wasn't confiscating my attention in my mind, so that I was just thinking. So I just welcomed stillness, and then I wanted to see where the awareness, where was the center of awareness? And believe it or not, it transcended, it descended to about the middle area of my body. Which, when the Buddha was once asked where the seat of attention was, he gave that as kind of it's also in Qigong and Tai Chi, I think, the area that is often spoken about, the Tantiem, I think it's called, or something like that. But it was very much in this area and was fully embodied, but wasn't limited to body. It was extended beyond body, which I'll talk about in just a minute. It was just fun, because nothing was disturbed. Sights, sounds, smells, and tastes were all coming in, and the delight and appreciation for the body and movement and seeing. And yet the awareness wasn't lost in the thoughts about things. It was settled very easily and undisturbed in a kind of contented form in the middle. So I want to encourage that kind of adventure in your own discovery of body awareness and movement. We don't have to keep it so formal as to what the feet are doing in its particular, what's the big toe feeling in relationship to, this could be spread out a little more. It could be made into a dance. It could be made into a complete formless movement. It could be made into a bathing experience, or whatever we might be doing at the time. And so I just think that encouraging a little more experimentation and investigation in this movement of the body could be very helpful. If we think that walking meditation is only the sensations in our feet, what happens in the rushing hours of our lives when we can't even, when our shoes are on and we're lost in the noise of the commotion of living, and finding our feet is probably the last thing we can do, but we do have a sense of body in all of that. And to be able to move with some degree of grace through the day is a beautiful encouragement of the form in interaction and within action. Dancing, beautiful opportunity of it. So let's talk a little bit about why do we and how do we lose our way so quickly when we start moving. When we got up from the sitting, what happens? What happens in that? Why is it kind of click back in? Well, that's fine. I was sitting and I was in abeyance. I was sort of secondarily important to all the things that were happening in the experience of the meditation. But as soon as I got back up, I was primary again, wasn't I? And where I was moving was primary. And the cause and reasons for moving was primary. So the sense of I came forward, and with the sense of I coming forward, the I, the sense of self's agenda comes with it, doesn't it? And suddenly, excuse me, I'm trying to get back there to get a little homework sheet, and I have to wait through 10 people, so how can I plot my course around these 10 people, pick up one? Well, I'll just ask the person up in the front of the line to get 2 instead of 1, so I don't have to wait, on and on. And there's this kind of manipulation of circumstances, and because suddenly we're no longer passive recipients of the experience, we're active controlling the experience of our life. And when that sense of active controller extends outward, the sense of being meditative, or because meditation is receiving the experience of life. Meditation, we're not actively controlling the experiences of life, we're receiving. So this sense, somewhere we've been replaced from a passive receiving the experience of life, in which the sense of self is secondary, to one in which we're now fully engaged within the details of life, in which we are become active and primary. And somewhere in that seating rearrangement, I lose awareness. Now, why would I lose awareness? Because awareness becomes secondarily important to what you want in the moment that you're trying to procure whatever it is. So awareness is still there, it's just secondarily important. And when something is secondarily important and as unobtrusive as awareness is, it isn't even observed, it isn't even connected with. Now, it's not that it's lost, it's that we're lost. And whether one wants to come back, it's like, how do I make this work? You make it work by relaxing your hands. You're not going to make it work on your terms. You're going to make it work on its terms by relaxing the tension you have with it. By all of the browbeating and all of that that's immaturity, really. You make it work by seeing how it works and then bringing it forward. Because when you realize that it's never missing, that you are missing from it, then we figure out how to diminish our sense of control within what we're doing, and we will find that springing forth once more. Now, when I was hiking, one thing that was real clear was, if I was tired and I had an agenda for the hike to end, or if I was looking at my watch to see how long I had hiked and how much more I had to hike, or I'd ask a fellow hiker who was coming the other way how much further it is to the lake, well, there wasn't any awareness nor enjoyment in the process of hiking. As soon as we have a product associated with our movement, as soon as we have some representation of self where we are going, then the mind looks forward to the procurement of that product. And movement becomes quantifiable. That is, when I get what I'm intending, then the movement is satisfied. Right? So it's not movement for itself in the poem. It's not existence for its own existence. It's existence in order to be productive, to be useful, to be whatever it is that motivates our movement. And so as soon as we reach, we're not interested in the reaching. Why would you be interested in the reaching? The reaching is for the cup to get the water to, you see, now, right? Now I can take this moment in. What about all this moment? 90x% of our time is spent in getting to what it is that we want. So is 90% of our time a wasted time? And only that 10 or fewer percent of time when we actually get the goal, the product, then it's not wasted anymore. How are we going to bring this thing back, you see? How are we going to recover ourselves? We're all recovering ourselves. Recovering our life. We're not recovering ourselves. We're uncovering ourselves to recover life. And so you begin to see the value of life lived before it's satisfied, mentally satisfied. Because the movement is for some satisfaction. And so if you're just interested in the satisfaction, then the movement's a waste of time. But if you can hold the satisfaction as part of the completion of the moment, it's just a moment in which one aspect of it is an emotion or an attitude of unsatisfactoriness. It's not an unsatisfactory moment. You see? It's a moment that contains some unsatisfactoriness. I can live with that. And now I'm not rushing to cover up that unsatisfactoriness with what it is that I'm trying to get from life that will assuage that discomfort. You have to do this thing. You know, this isn't theoretical. Well, it's theoretical. You can take it home and think, that sounded good. I heard it better on other talks, but then you don't practice it. And what we're going to be learning, if you stay with this thing, and I'm running out of time already, is that unless you practice it, it all is a wash. That it's the movement itself that is the deciding link between the insight and the integration of wisdom. You can sit on your seat forever and have tremendous insights into voidness and everything, but if you get back up and the sense of you is in full flowering, those will just become remote memories. Unless you say, okay, you know, even though there is this sense of self, I know, because I've experienced, I saw the sense of emptiness. Now, what does that mean? How does that translate in terms of movement, in terms of what I want for life, in terms of what life is, and in terms of me within it? Because this whole thing gets kind of shaky here when you start translating what you've seen into the practicalities of being. And it should be. That's if we want this thing. And the beauty of allowing movement to arise more spontaneously within the situation rather than to try to effectively work towards obtaining a goal, which is looking into the future for satisfaction rather than the here and now, is that the here and now is the only place that you can be truly satisfied. And serendipity happens within the here and now. I don't think we realize how the wonders and majesty of life, the magic quality of life, which is so enticing to the heart and makes life so wondrous. You know, you're thinking of someone, you turn the corner and there they are. How did they get there? Coincidence. That's just a word. When we don't know how it got there, we say coincidence, chance, we say. Just means we don't know. But the wonders of that magic starts happening in front of your eyes. But when you're only set with a goal, you don't care that you were thinking of Joe and Joe's there around the corner, because Joe isn't what you wanted anyway. You wanted to get to your car, and Joe was just... And you get the job done. Don't worry about that. The job gets done. So if I just focus in on the moment, what about the job gets done? Don't worry. So let's look at action. And embodiment. Okay. Wise action. Okay. Now, we'll be sitting and we'll have an insight. Maybe we'll see something about us. Some might be a psychological insight. It could be a depth of realization. It could be a lot of different things. But you get a sense of something in yourself. Maybe that you're afraid of something, or that there's a shadow part of you that is coming up, or you're prejudiced or opinionated or something, and you think, okay, I've seen that now. And then we just kind of let it go and never bother it again. It's like seeing it is somehow supposed to cure itself. No, not at all. You have to bring that component into an inquiry, into an investigation, and say, okay, so I solved this say, mixed racial couple together, and I felt, God, what were they doing? Felt the prejudice. Okay, I can't rest with that. I have to see what that's about. There's something in me that keeps translating, whatever it might be, into some form of reactivity. And the reactivity is a key. And you don't rest with it, you just don't let it become a memory. You keep bringing it up. You start looking for that reactivity wherever you find it, and where you're holding, the pain you're holding within that reactivity as well. So there's a way that we don't allow the insight, whatever we saw in the moment of fleeting moment of our meditation, to fall by the wayside. But we really bring it up. We call it forth, and we start working with the thing as an active ingredient of our life. And we start noticing, oh, I see that, we're being raised in the 50s, there's this little irritation when I see mixed racial couples, or whatever it is. I don't know what it is for you. And so, okay, so now what am I going to do? So you could have a whole game plan for beginning to expose yourself to that form of prejudice, because prejudice doesn't go away. We don't like it, nobody likes it, but it doesn't go away just by not wanting it to be there. It has to be explored. And most people are afraid to explore it, because to explore it means that they're racist in this particular case. And nobody wants to be labeled racist, so we'll suppress the fact that we have those reactivities, pretend that everything is fine, and let ourselves harbor that racism, because in that way we can pretend that we're free of prejudice. It doesn't work. And if you're honest with yourself, you see that and you start flushing it out. And looking at yourself, wherever it is that you hold some bias for yourself, against yourself. And any sense of image you have of yourself is a bias against yourself. Did you hear that? Any image you have of yourself is a limitation and a bias of yourself. I don't care how good or poor the image is. It is a limitation and will create havoc for you in the long run. And so you start looking to flush that out. Oh, I see. I'm arrogant with certain type of person. What is that arrogance about? And that inquiry, that willingness to look inside, to see the disposition of when arrogance arises in certain situations, and to see where your pain is, because when there is arrogance, there's the pain of one's own self-diminishment, which is why arrogance is an overcompensation. I need to look at that. I need to get that pain out. I need to flush it out. And all of this is easily done in movement. It's done through movement. When we're in movement, we can bring this out. When you're sitting there, you don't have the circumstances in order to see the reactivity, to get the experience, and to understand and investigate the experiences that's arising. But in activity, when you're in the middle of arrogance, being arrogant with somebody, you're feeling it in yourself, you go, whoa, right there, in movement, in interaction. You're not going to let the movement move you beyond the understanding and investigation of that moment. You're not going to skip over it or pretend it's not there. But we're going to allow that movement to show us our ignorance, to show us our arrogance. And the body has long assumed the posture of escapism, because that's what we have used the body for. And so when we feel something disparaging in ourselves, we'll slink off, we'll go here, we'll go left, we'll turn around, we'll run away, we'll do anything so that we don't have to confront that level of disturbance within us. So this is where wise action, this is where the body is the representation of breaking the important link, the connection between the insight and the remediation, the remedy, and the freedom from the disturbance through the body. Because the body carries the messages of our fear, of our avoidance. It has assumed the logic of our hysteria, of our neurosis. How we carry our bodies, our slumpiness, our body posture. And so in movement, as we're speaking, as we're moving through the world, as we're shaking hands and looking people in the eye, as we're engaged in action, we will have psychological reactivity to what we're doing. And the body will assume that's the truth of that psychological disadvantage, which usually it is, feeling of unworthiness, and start creeping away and so on. And what we're called to do is to enlighten the body in that moment, keep it steady, let the cells take on a new representation, a new relationship to itself, to its understanding. Hi, how are you? Fine, I'm just fine. How are you doing? Steady eyes, firm posture, no slumping, no self-disregard. And we see that there's only one mechanism for this to work, and it's through the body, through the movement. Not sitting. You could sit for 10, and I've known people that have focused so much on the sitting meditation that they miss the journey of liberation. They get hooked into the thought of sitting meditation as being the liberating component. It's not. It forms really good samadhi. It will show you you have lots of insights, but it has a limitation. Understanding is better in movement than in passivity and in body stillness. More understanding will come in the movement. And this is what the Buddha is saying, it seems to me, when I read between the lines, when I get lost in just the dry interpretation of what he says, it doesn't, but for me, it means, come on out. Let's live this thing. Let's live it. And every one of you, by the nature of the fact that we are interacting all the time, that means our mind is always conjuring up an image or reactivity or a liking or a there it is, right in front of us, all the time. And what we're thinking about, God, I got to go home and sit. The action integrates in insight. Someone once said, do what you know. Is if there's a simple phrase for liberation, it's do what you know. And each of us have an intuitive sense in ourselves that we know where we're disadvantaged. We know what we need, where we need to learn. We know where we need to go. We just won't allow ourselves to do that, or we get caught up in someone else's image or some other teacher's pointing and don't follow that sense of inward guidance that we have to do what we know to do for ourselves. You know where your pain is. You don't need my talks to point to your pain. You know where your pains are. Now, are we going to go there? So I think I'm going to skip over what I have a whole, and I'm going to go to a component part of the sutta where he says fully alert and fully attentive, fully, F-U-L-L-Y, fully attentive, right? It's like when we do walking meditation. We kind of are there, right? It's like, I'm kind of there. And the mind has some percentage of that fully, right? Sort of. It's a sort of showing up for your... Maybe it's 50-50. Maybe we can get really good and only be there 10% while our mind kind of entertains us the other 90%. But what's fully look like? What's fully look like? I think that's an important word for us, fully. Now, this is an important component. In meditation, in spiritual journey, in Buddhism, they talk about sati, S-A-T-I, which is mindfulness, which is awareness. Sampajana, sati sampajana. And if you read the texts in Pali, you would see every time there's a sati, you would see a sampajana, which is awareness and clear comprehension. Clear comprehension. Fully comprehending the situation. Fully available. Clear comprehension. So that there is that the purpose and intention of what you're doing, the motivation of what you're doing, the context out of what and why and how you're doing it are also known to you. And the context of the situation. The relationship. Who you're meeting. Much of the wisdom of Buddha is an interactive wisdom. Like he'll say, well, don't just tell somebody what is true. Get a sense of what they can hear before you just say what is true. And then tell them what they can hear. Don't tell them what they are disposed of being able to hear. How much truth can they hear from you? Is it the right time to say to that person what you know they need to hear? And what is it that makes you so sure that you need to say it anyway? And what do you think you know? And so all of that is the contextual situation. You see, in a relationship, the whole interdependency of other expressions of life gets pulled into this teaching. Full awareness, fully aware. Not just right? So I'm so self-contained that I don't even know you're there. Something wrong there. This is an interactive practice. We reach beyond ourselves. If it's just about ourselves, how would we ever get to interconnectedness? We have to move this thing beyond. And so for the last point, I just want to encourage walking meditation. In walking meditation, we say walk with awareness. Okay, so you're walking with awareness. So you're always the one that's forcing the awareness on the situation. So try walking within awareness. So that the context of the awareness is around you and it holds. It's not forced by your control. It's there regardless of whether you're controlling it or not. And you get a sense that this thing pre-exists our efforts to establish it. Right? Just as we're standing here now, just notice that awareness is also outside your body and sees your body. So that awareness is having the experience of you. Instead of you having the experience of awareness. Get a feeling of that. You see? So full awareness, fully aware, is not awareness derived from our own sense of control. It's seeing what pre-exists our control. And much more will be said about that in future talks. Thank you. Maybe we can just sit for a minute or two.
आज की देशना का हिंदी अनुवाद संक्षेप में करता हूँ। आपने शुरू किया अंगुत्तर निकाय के एक दृष्टांत से, जिसमें भगवान सारिपुत्र से कहते हैं कि मुझे लगता है कि चाहे मैं संक्षेप में समझाऊं चाहे विस्तार में समझाऊं, बहुत कम ही लोग समझ पाते हैं। सारिपुत्र कहते हैं हाँ बनते लेकिन समय तो है, जो भी आप सिखाएं काफ़ी कुछ लोग तो हैं ही हैं जो समझते ही हैं। ऐसा उनका ट्रांसलेशन है। आई डोंट नो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली वाज देयर। तो वो कहते हैं, फिर भगवान से कहते हैं कि मुख्य बात यह है कि किसी भी, या ना तो अपने शरीर में ना या बाहर की किसी भी वस्तु में मैं और मेरे का भाव नहीं होना चाहिए। ये मुख्य बात है। तो उसी बात पे वो कह रहे हैं कि जो शरीर के प्रति जो आत्मभाव है, पॉजिटिवनेस है, वो हमारे लिबरेशन का सबसे बड़ा हिंड्रेंस है, सबसे बड़ी रुकावट है। तो आज का जो सेक्शन था एरियापत्तपबम का, कि चलते फिरते उठते बैठते चलते लेटते खड़े होके सती बनी रहे, उसके बारे में आज उन्होंने चर्चा की। और उनका विचार था कि ये सेक्शन हमको ऐसे दिखाता है कि सिर्फ बैठे बैठे जो हम ध्यान करते हैं वो अपने में सफिशिएंट नहीं है, क्योंकि उस तरह से हम अपने को एक पिंजरे में बंद कर देते हैं। मुख्य बात यह है कि हम जब चलते फिरते ध्यान करें तो लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करेंगे, बातचीत होगी, तो उस समय भी हमारी जो सोशल एंगेजमेंट है उसकी भी बात उन्होंने कही आज। कि कई लोग समझते हैं कि ध्यान जो है बहुत पैसिव है, उसमें सोशली एंगेज नहीं होते लोग, लेकिन वास्तव में परिस्थिति यह है कि जो लोग सोशली एंगेज होते हैं वो कई बार नाराज़गी के कारण होते हैं, तो उतना लाभप्रद नहीं होता। लेकिन अगर ध्यान करें और अवेयरनेस रखें तो सोशल एंगेजमेंट थ्रू कंपैशन होगी, जो बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा। मैं संक्षेप में अपनी शब्दावली में यूज़ कर रहा हूँ ताकि समझ आने में दिक्कत ना हो। उन्होंने फिर एक बार कहा कि जो मॉन्क्स वगैरह हैं उनके लिए, क्योंकि वो सेक्लूजन में एकांत में रहते हैं, तो उनके लिए समाधि का अभ्यास बहुत उचित रहता है, उपयुक्त रहता है। ले पर्सन्स जो हैं, जो गृहस्थ लोग हैं, उनके लिए वो शायद उतना उचित नहीं। और इन एनी केस जो लिबरेशन है वो तो इनसाइट मेडिटेशन से मिलती है, जो अंतर्दृष्टि जो सत्य के बारे में हो उससे मिलती है। उन्होंने एक दृष्टांत भी दिया। एक रिट्रीट वो कंडक्ट कर रहे थे जिसमें कि एक कैंसर पेशेंट कोई औरत थी जो बार बार खांस रही थी, तो वो एम्बेरस हो रही थी और हर बार उठ के जा रही थी। तो उन्होंने जाके उससे कहा कि तुम्हें एम्बेरस होने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं, यहाँ पे हम समाधि का अभ्यास नहीं कर रहे हैं। जाकर तुम्हें खांसोगी, डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं होगी किसी को, क्योंकि हम इस खांसने की आवाज़ को भी एक साधना का आलम्बन ही बनाते हैं। तो तुम यहाँ बैठ के साधना करो और जितना खांसने आवश्यक हो करो, कोई उसमें बुरा मानने की बात नहीं। तो उनका जैसे नॉर्मली जो वॉकिंग मेडिटेशन भी की जाती है उसमें सारा ध्यान वो समाधि के ध्यान से की जाती है कि सारा ध्यान पाँव उठ रहा है, बैठ रहा है, उठ रहा है, बैठ रहा है, उस पर करे जाए। लेकिन एक और तरीका हो सकता है कि हम अपने अवेयरनेस को खुला छोड़ दें, कोई जगह ना रखें, और लेकिन अवेयर रहें। तो हम कहते हैं मैंने जब देखा तो सारा ध्यान चारों तरफ से हर चीज़ देख रहा हूँ और ध्यान जो है हृदय वस्तु पे आ जाता है। तो उन्होंने अपना अनुभव शेयर किया कि ऐसा नहीं है कि ध्यान भटक जाए इधर उधर, सजग रहने की आवश्यकता है बस। और उससे ये रहता है कि हम दिन में हर समय हम धीरे धीरे नहीं चल सकते, तेज़ भी चलना पड़ता है, लेकिन अगर हम अवेयरनेस बनाए रखें तो वी कैन मूव विद सेंस ऑफ ग्रेस। फिर उन्होंने इस बात पे इन्वेस्टिगेट किया कि क्यों हम बैठे हुए जब ध्यान ठीक से कर पाते हैं तो चलते हुए क्यों नहीं कर पाते। तो विचार था कि जैसे ही हम खड़े होते हैं वैसे ही कोई ना कोई एजेंडा हमारे सामने आ जाता है और अहम का भाव जागता है, और फिर जो है उस हमारी ध्यान जो है सब उस वस्तु में भटक जाता है। ऐसा नहीं कि अवेयरनेस रहती नहीं, अवेयरनेस तो हमेशा होती है, लेकिन हम वहाँ पे उपलब्ध नहीं होते, हम कहीं और किसी और वस्तु में, किसी परिस्थिति में, किसी याददाश्त में खो जाते हैं। और फिर हम कोशिश करते हैं कंट्रोल करने की कि मैं अवेयरनेस मेरी बनी रहे। उसकी जगह ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा कि अगर हम रिलैक्स रहें ताकि अवेयर हो जाएं और अवेयरनेस अपने आप ही हमको उपलब्ध रहे। क्योंकि जैसे ही हम, जैसे उन्होंने अपने उदाहरण दिया, वो हाइकिंग पे जा रहे थे जैसे, तो जैसे ही वो ये सोचते थे कि कितनी दूर जाना है, अभी लेक कितनी दूर है, कितना टाइम लगेगा, सब अवेयरनेस ख़त्म हो जाती थी। और जब आप चलते हुए प्रतिक्षण सजग हैं, उस क्षण के बारे में सजग हैं, तो अवेयरनेस अपने आप बनी रहती है। तो उन्हें हमारा ध्यान दे रहा है कि अगर हम गोल की ओर ही अपने एक्टिविटीज़ में जो लक्ष्य है उसी की ओर ध्यान रखते हैं तो लक्ष्य के लिए तो जो 90% से ज़्यादा समय तो हमारा जर्नी में ही निकल जाता है उसको उद्देश्य। तो अगर हम उस जर्नी के टाइम को वेस्ट माने और उस तो सारा हमारा जीवन का जो जीने का तरीका है वो गलत है। हमको हर क्षण प्रतिक्षण अगर सजग रहें, प्रतिक्षण अगर अवेयर रहेंगे तो हर क्षण हम एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, ना कि हम सिर्फ गोल को एंजॉय करें। और जब ऐसे जीते हैं तो अपने आप ही प्रकृति के नियम है कि जो प्रकृति भी है हमारी मदद करने लगती है। एक और बात उन्होंने कही कि जैसे साधना में हम बैठ के ध्यान करते हैं, संखार जागते हैं, देखते हैं और उसको हम त्याग देते हैं, वो अपने में इतना काफ़ी नहीं होता है, क्योंकि जब जैसे ही हम उठते हैं और हमारा इंटरेक्शन होता है किसी के साथ तो वो संस्कार फिर सामने खड़े हो जाते हैं और हमें उनको उनसे भागने की कोशिश करते हैं, क्योंकि हम अपनी एक इमेज होती है हमारी और वो इमेज हमारी टूटने लगती है तो हम उसको किसी तरह से नकारते रहते हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा कि भगवान की जो इरियापथ पबम है वो उसको इस तरह से देखते हैं कि हमारे डेली इंटरेक्शन में भी हम इतना सजग रहें ताकि जो संखार हमारे उठते हैं उनको समझें उस समय, इंटरेक्शन के समय उसके बारे में अवेयर रहें और फिर इंटरेक्शन के दौरान उसको उनका क्षय होता हुआ देखें, तो सचमुच में हमारा जो संस्कार हैं वो विहीन हो जाते हैं। चाहे वो गुस्से का हो, जैसे उन्होंने एग्जांपल दिया, एरोगेंस का हो, रेसिज्म का हो, जो भी हो, तो मैं इसको जनरली संस्कार के रूप में बता रहा हूँ। और उस समय जब हम इंटरेक्शन में जब इस तरह से करते हैं तो उसका असर शरीर पे स्पष्ट मालूम पड़ता है। तो शरीर के माध्यम से जो उसका संचित एनर्जी है वो समाप्त हो जाती है। तो हमको सिर्फ इतना ही करना है कि हम अवेयर रहें, बस कोई ख़ास तरह से अवेयर रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं, जनरल अवेयरनेस रहे। जब भी इंटरेक्शन कर रहे हैं तो जैसे ही कोई संखार जागेगा हम अवेयर हैं, संखार जाग रहा है, शरीर में उसका क्या असर हो रहा है, तो उस तरह से उससे मुक्ति मिल जाएगी। क्योंकि जो गहरे संस्कार हैं वो इसी तरह से सिटिंग मेडिटेशन से निकलते ही नहीं है। क्योंकि हालांकि अधिकतर हमारी बात यही आती है कि जब हम ध्यान करते हैं फिर बाहर इंटरेक्शन में फिर वो संस्कार जागता है तो हम समझते हो चलो अब फिर बैठ जाएं फिर ध्यान करेंगे। उनका विचार था कि उसी समय अगर हम प्रयास करें इंटरेक्शन के दौरान ही तो ज़्यादा लाभ होता है। तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारा मंत्र जो है साधना का ये होना चाहिए कि जो तुम जानते हो वैसा करो। तो फिर उन्होंने सती के बाद साथ संपजन्य की बात की कि संपजन्य जो है वो बहुत आवश्यक है कि हमें पूरी तरह से हर परिस्थिति की, जो भी परिस्थिति है उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट की, उसके पर्पज़ की, उसका उद्देश्य क्या है, किस इंटेंशन से हम कर रहे हैं, क्या कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, क्या सिचुएशन है, वो सारी चीज़ें हमारे पास होनी चाहिए, जिसको उनका इंटरेक्टिव विजडम होनी चाहिए ताकि हम फिर उचित तरह से काम कर सकें। जैसे भगवान की उन्होंने वाणी की, वो बताते थे उनको कि तुम पहले देखो कौन आया है, उसका क्या डिस्पोजिशन है, किस तरह की चीज़ वो सुन सकता है, वो उसके लिए उपयुक्त चीज़ जो है वही उसको बताओ, ना कि वो बताओ कि जो तुम्हें बहुत अच्छी लगती है या तुम्हें बहुत ठीक से आती है। तो इस तरह उन्होंने कहा वॉकिंग अवेयरनेस, वॉकिंग मेडिटेशन के बारे में सुझाव दिया कि आप वॉकिंग करिए, मेडिटेशन करें तो जनरल अवेयरनेस बनाए रखें, फोकस ना करें, अटेंशन को कंट्रोल ना करके जनरल अवेयरनेस बना के देखें तो उससे भी काफ़ी लाभ होगा। तो अंत में उन्होंने ये बात से समाप्त किया अपना प्रवचन। हम ब्रह्म विहारों का अभ्यास करते हैं। सर्वप्रथम मैत्री ब्रह्म विहार का अभ्यास उसी क्रम में जैसे रोज़ करते हैं, अपने बारे में, अपने लिए, फिर प्रियजनों के लिए और फिर लोकपालों के लिए, संसार हमारे प्लैनेट को रक्षा करने वालों के लिए, देवताओं के लिए, ताकि सभी शुभकामना रखें, सभी लोग निर्वैर हों, निर्द्वेष हों, चिंता मुक्त हों। और बैर मुक्त होंगे तो अपने आप मैत्री जागेगी, द्वेष मुक्त होंगे तो सद्भावना जागेगी। अहं अवेरोमि अव्यापज्योमि अनिगोमि सुखी अत्तानं परिहरामि। मम माता पितु आचार्या च ज्ञातिमित्ता च सब्रह्मचारिणो च अवेराहोन्तु अव्यापज्याहोन्तु अनिगाहोन्तु सुखी अत्तानं परिहरन्तु। आरक्षा देवता भूमट्ठा देवता अखट्ठा देवता आकाशट्ठा देवता अवेराहोन्तु अव्यापज्याहोन्तु अनिगाहोन्तु सुखी अत्तानं परिहरन्तु। अब उसका शुद्ध स्वरूप सभी अनंत अपरिमित मैत्री सभी प्राणियों के प्रति, चाहे वो किसी भी लोक में हो, किसी भी देश के हों, स्थूल हो, सूक्ष्म हो, पुरुष हो, स्त्री हो, सबे सत्ता सबे पाना सबे भूता सबे पुरुषा सबे अत्ता भाव परियापन्ना सब्बा इत्यो सबे पुरुषा सबे अरिया सबे नरिया सबे देवा सबे मनुष्या सबे विनिपातिका अवेराहोन्तु अव्यापज्याहोन्तु अनिगाहोन्तु सुखी अत्तानं परिहरन्तु। अब करुणा ब्रह्म विहार। अपने कष्टों को विचार करके, अपने प्रति जानने वालों के कष्टों को याद करके, उनके प्रति, फिर अनगिनत हजारों लाखों लोगों के प्रति जो कष्ट में हैं, विभिन्न प्रकार से, बीमारी से, बिछोह से, व्यवसाय के बंद होने से, सभी के प्रति हार्दिक करुणा और ये शुभेच्छा कि उन सबके दुख दूर हो शीघ्रता से, रोग दुख हो। तो आए सब मिलके परित्याचा पाठ करते हैं उसके लिए। जैसे कल बताया, वो भाव रख के कि हम श्रद्धा के बल से इन्वोक कर रहे हैं सभी बुद्धों अरहंतों के निधि बल को, ताकि उनके इंद्रिय बल से इस विषम परिस्थिति का समाधान निकल सके, लोगों के दुख दूर हो, रोग दूर हो। वचसा मनसा चैव वन्दामि ते तथागते शयने आसने ठाने गमने चापि सर्वदा सदा सुखेन रक्षन्तु बुद्धा सन्ति करातुवं ते हि त्वं रक्षितो सन्तु मुक्तो सर्वभयेन च सर्वरोगा विनिमुक्तो सर्वरोगाविनिमुक्तो सर्वसन्तापवर्जितो सर्ववैरमतिकन्तो निवृत्तो च त्वं भव। तेषां सच्चेन शीलेन खन्ति मेत्ताबलेन च तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। पुरुषस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति भूता महीद्विका तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। दक्षिणस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति देवा महीद्विका तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। पश्चिमस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति नागा महीद्विका तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। उत्तरस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति यक्खा महीद्विका तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। पुरतिसरट्ठो दक्षिणेन विरुल्लको पश्चिमेन विरूपक्षो कुबेरोत्तरं दिशं चत्तारो ते महाराजा लोकपालाय यशस्विनो तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। आकाशट्टा च भूमट्टा देवानागा महीद्विका तेऽपि त्वम् अनुरक्षन्तु आरोग्येन सुखेन च। यो विभज्यन्तु शोको रोगो विनश्यतु माते भवतोऽन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भव। आप कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन उन सभी बंधुओं का, भाइयों बहनों का जो विषम परिस्थिति में भी सेवा कार्य में, नाना प्रकार के सेवा कार्यों में लगे हुए हैं, खतरा मोल ले रहे हैं, दिन रात सेवा कर रहे हैं। उन सब के प्रति अत्यंत आभार, कृतज्ञता, धन्यवाद। हम सब कामना करें कि वो स्वस्थ रहें, सुरक्षित रहें, उनके काम में कोई बाधा न करें। अज्ञानवश लोग उन्हें परेशान भी कर रहे हैं। और हम सब आए अपने पुण्य उनके साथ साझा करें। जो भी पुण्य हमने किए हैं आज तक, उन सब में आप सब भागीदार हों। पुण्यस्य इदानि याना अन्यानि कतानि मे तेषां च भागिनो हन्तु सत्तानन्तपमानका। अब मुदिता ब्रह्म विहार मन को प्रफुल्लित करने के लिए हर परिस्थिति में दुख रहता है तो सुख भी रहता ही है। तो जो भी हमें पर्सनली जानकारी हो उनको याद करके, जहाँ सुख की परिस्थिति हो उसको याद करके उनके सुख में शामिल हो सकते हैं। और जनरली हमें ये भी मालूम है कि हज़ारों लाखों लोग इस रोग से मुक्त हुए हैं और स्वास्थ्य लाभ कर रहे हैं। उनकी इस स्वास्थ्य लाभ में के प्रति अनुमोदन करते हुए, प्रसन्नता व्यक्त करते हुए हम भी उनकी प्रसन्नता में शामिल हो सकते हैं। या कोई भी और भी कारण हो जिसको देख के मन प्रफुल्लित हो तो उसको मन में थोड़ी देर रख के मन को प्रसन्न कर सकते हैं। और ये शुभकामना करते हैं कि जो लोग सुख की परिस्थिति में हैं उनका सुख बना रहे, सुख संपत्ति किसी कारण से व्यवधान न पड़े, उनसे दूर न हो। यथा लब्धा संपत्तितो मा विगच्छन्तु। और अब अंत में उपेक्षा ब्रह्म विहार। हर परिस्थिति में चित्त हमारा समता में रहे, सभी का जो सुख में है दुख में है सभी का चित्त समता में रहे, ऐसी शुभकामना, ऐसी शुभेच्छा। और ये भी जानते हैं भगवान की शिक्षा से कि ऐसे होने के लिए आवश्यक है कि सम्यक दृष्टि हो। तो लोकीय प्रज्ञा के रूप में कर्म सिद्धांत को समझना, उसको याद करना, ताकि अपने दुख के भासमान कारणों के प्रति द्वेष न जागे, रोष न जागे। अपने दुखों का कारण अपने ही कर्म है। कर्मस्य का कर्मदायादा कर्मयोनि कर्मबन्धु कर्मपटिसरण यं कर्मं करिष्यन्ति कल्याणं वा पापकं वा तस्य दायादा भविष्यन्ति। और असली दुख से मुक्ति तो लोकोत्तर प्रज्ञा से ही जागेगी, लोकोत्तर सम्मादिट्ठी से। और ये सच्चा अनवेच्च पश्यति। तो आए हम सब शुभेच्छा करें कि सभी लोग की दृष्टि सम्यक हो, ताकि कोई गलत काम न हो और दुख का कोई कारण न बन पाए। सर्वे सत्ता सुखी होन्तु, सर्वे होन्तु च खेमिनो, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा किञ्चित् पापमागमः, मा किञ्चित् शोकमागमः, मा किञ्चित् दुःखमागमः। अरहं सम्मा संबुद्धो भगवान्। अच्छा हो गया ही नहीं। भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु मे भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो भगवा बुद्धं भगवन्तम् अभिवादेमि साक्षातो भगवता धम्मं नमस्सामि सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो सङ्घं नमामि